You know, when you learn the secrets to hitting your irons flush, it becomes really easy. You look forward to hitting that mid-iron out of the fairway because you know you're going to hit a good one, and most of your playing partners are going to struggle hitting those shots. Now, I've put together 3 of my all-time best videos that are going to share with you some of those real secrets to hitting crisp irons. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, now in this video, I got to be honest, I feel like I'm giving you the keys to the castle, so to speak. I feel like I should call your playing partners and warn them that after you do this drill this week, they better watch out. They better not bet you very much money because you're going to put a beat down on them. This drill is that good. Now, don't do what I did. When I first heard about this rubber band, flexi band drill, I didn't try it out for over a year. It's actually, I have to give credit where credit's due. Fellow instructor, top speed golf instructor Chris Hunsucker first showed this to me. I didn't have a stretchy band and I put it off, and man, I regret doing that. This is one of the best drills to get you synced up in your golf swing, to get you feeling like your body and your arms work together, to feel like you can really compress a golf ball, and to get a whole lot more consistent. Let's go and get started. All right, so let's talk about what it means to be connected in the golf swing. Now, in the backswing, we don't really want to be connected. We want our arms to go ahead and come up nice and high. That allows us to create a lot of swing speed. That allows us to really wind up that way we can get a lot of swing speed in the golf swing. But when we're connected is through contact. And what you really want to feel, and what you see with all the great players, is that as you come through contact, your left armpit or your left bicep and your left pec are really pinched in tight together. And what that's going to do for you is a couple things. If my body stops and I throw my arms, I get the chicken wing. My left arm flies off my body, and you kind of hit it like dirt, to be honest with you. You're not going to hit it nearly as good as your real ability could be. So when I stay connected, now as my body opens, my hands get in front of this golf ball and I'm much more consistent. I get the forward shaft lean like the pros have. I get that left wrist nice and bowed like the pros do. I get that extension through the shot with this left arm nice and straight that we all dream about getting, just like the pros do. And this drill is going to be fantastic to make that happen. Now, what we're going to do here to make this drill work is you just put this band, and it doesn't matter what thickness, what strength of this is, we're going to have a little bit of tension in here. Even if you have one of those circular bands, that's completely fine. It doesn't matter which one you have, just something that's stretchy that you can put under your armpit, which I'll show in a minute. I'm going to wrap it around the toe of the club, and then I'm going to come around the face 3 or 4 or 5 times really tight. And I want to do that way I make sure that this thing doesn't fly off, and I have to reset it every 2 or 3 swings. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But once I get that around there tight like that, it's going to be around the club head. Now from there, I'm going to go ahead and set this club down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a little bit of tension with this. I want to have a little bit of stretchiness there. And then I want to go ahead and put the other side under my left armpit. Now, what I have to do with this drill, even though it looks a little bit goofy, is now I have to have that connection. As soon as my arm flies away from my body and I chicken wing, that pops out and you get immediate feedback from that. Now, when you're doing this, I want to get in there nice and tight to start. I'm only going to be able to go back to about right here. And then I'm going to come through, and I'm only going to be able to come through to about right there, maybe a little bit farther than that. That's when I'm connected in the golf swing. And you'll feel like your body opens up and the club just tracks right along with it. You'll also notice when you do this, I'm not going to flip at all. As soon as I flip the club, my arm loosens up and that band flies out. I'm not going to do a lot of the things that I don't want to do in the golf swing when I do this drill. You'll also notice that if I can keep that club's shaft in front of this stretchy band, that's going to make sure that I have forward shaft lean as I'm doing this. So I can even hit a couple golf balls if I get it wrapped around there fairly tight. Use a middle iron, 6-iron, 7-iron, 8-iron, and then just go halfway back and halfway through. Just like that, really compressed. You're going to get some really nice feels when you're doing that. So that's the drill. Let me give you a couple keys that you want to focus in on as you're doing that drill. And then finally, a way to check it to make sure that you're getting the compression and the consistency that you really need. When I'm going back, what I don't want to do is I don't want to do this. And I don't want to have my shoulders turning very flat. I want to feel like my left shoulder goes down, keeps a little pinch between my left arm and my pec, and I want to feel like my right shoulder goes up. That allows me to get that turn of the shoulders very early. That is incredibly important for swing speed. If I don't get that turn and I pick up with my arms, again, my arms are flying off my chest and I'm gonna lose that stretchiness of the band. I'm gonna lose that tightness in there. So I'm gonna feel like I get a huge shoulder turn just when my club is parallel to the ground. Now, I've preached that for years, but I've never had a drill as good as this that allows you to feel that in your swing. Now from there, the next piece is the legs and the body. This is the part that everybody gets wrong. Most players do this. We stand up, the hips go toward the golf ball, my knees straighten, and we throw, or we kind of flip our arms at it. That gets a chicken wing as our club goes past our body. What we want to feel like is, as we have pressure in my left armpit, now I'm letting my legs bend and I'm rotating my body through the shot. That's going to allow me to keep everything moving forward, to keep my arms nice and long, and you can just hear that sound. I'm visualizing, even when I'm doing that, that's staying really tight and connected, and it's really, really solid. Now, the last piece of this is the part that is a make or break deal. There's actually two sides to this. Now, if I'm coming outside, if I let my club come out here and I'm coming across the golf ball, it's gonna be a weak and glancing blow. I'm never gonna be able to get the compression that you deserve to have on the golf ball coming across it like that. I wanna feel like, as I take this little backswing, as I start down, this is pinched across my chest, everything is tight as my body opens, but look at the golf club. It's coming from the inside. That's the real key here. See, when the club comes from the inside, from here, I can keep this tight, I can rotate on through, and what ends up happening is that club whips on through. Notice how, as I just rotate my body, when this club's from the inside, it slings out toward the golf ball, and it's a nice inside path. That's gonna be that great draw that everybody wants to get. But what happens when my club is outside? As I open up my body, now I'm just glancing, slicing across it. So the cool thing is, if you've been trying to get your club from the inside for a long time, but you stand up and flip, now you finally have the feel of how to stay connected and keep everything coming through there. So I want you to feel, and it's very, very important with this, I want you to feel like your club is very much in here, and now when you rotate through, that squares it up. See, I can get as far back here as I want. I could even get the club back here, and I'm not gonna be stuck as long as I rotate my body. That's what you see in the tour players doing, because that rotation of the body kicks the club back out in front, and it keeps you from getting stuck. So I'm gonna feel like on this one, I get the club so far to the inside, and as I keep this tight and I rotate, it's gonna be a nice solid compression, and you're gonna see from the flight of the golf ball, it's nice and straight also. So that felt like to me that I was here, but I bet it didn't look like that on camera, because as I rotate my body, that kicks it back out in front. Those daggone tour pros, they hit it so good. How do they do that? And one of the things that they do really well is when they're hitting shots, this is all shots, so all the way from a wedge all the way up to a driver, we'll kind of go over both in this video, but they're able to open their body, stay down in what most people call covering the golf ball, put pressure on the shaft, and really compress that golf ball with the hands leading in front. Well, there's actually a really simple drill that I'm going to share with you here that allows you to stop doing that. So if you're the opposite of that, if you feel like you lose your posture, if you end up kind of throwing or flipping the club at the ball, your contact and your ball flight isn't as strong as you'd like for it to be, I have an awesome drill for you. Now be sure to watch this drill, because even if you've seen something similar to this, I have a couple of key points with this that really make all the difference in the world when you're doing this drill. So make sure you do this the right way, and you're going to have a level of solid contact that you haven't had in a while. Let's go and get started. All right, so let's jump right in here. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and take our grip, and then I want to slide my right hand down to where about half my right hand is on the shaft, half of it's still on the grip. And then I can kind of have my hands looking like this. So it's just like a normal grip would be. I'm just sliding them apart. Split hand grip, a lot of people will call this, but there's a couple modifications that we're gonna do. Now, one reason this is really good, if you're tending to lose your posture, so you're kind of backing up, you're doing the opposite of covering the golf ball, you're losing your posture, your hips are going toward the golf ball, a lot of times you're not opening your body very much. Well, what happens, you have to flip that club to be able to hit this golf ball. Now with a split hand grip like this, you really don't have the length to actually throw the right hand and still reach the golf ball. You know, the club would be much longer if my hand was in the normal position. So if I choke up on it like this, I have to make some modifications. So when I take my split hand grip like this, now as you come through contact, instead of raising up and throwing the club, you have to stay down in your posture, just like the pros are doing, staying in that posture through the shot. So this is a great cheat to give you the feeling of exactly what the pros are feeling as they're hitting the golf ball. Now there's a couple things I want you to focus on when you're doing this. Number one, I want my body to open up. So I really want to feel like my hips open up. I'm going to feel like my left arm is kind of cinched across my body like this. So if we're looking from face on, my chest, my arm is cinched across my chest like that, and it's the opening that gets the club to the ball. I'm going to feel like my belt buckle, again, this is a feeling, is pointing toward the target. It's not going to be. It's only going to be about 45 degrees open, but that's the feeling I'm going to have. And I want to go ahead and let my right heel start coming off the ground so that I can actually get in this position. If my heel stays down, it gets really tight. You really can't do that. So I want to really feel like I'm opening up, left arm across, right heel up. That's going to be really good. Now the second piece here, and what's really important, is like a hockey slap shot. Now good hockey players, what they do is they put pressure into the stick. So again, if I do my split hand grip and I go ahead and come down here to contact, if my right shoulder is driving through the shot, then I'm in a great position just like the pros. And I can feel this by taking my split hand grip, putting my club behind the golf ball, and then feeling like my right shoulder drives forward until I put some pressure into that shaft. So you actually see the shaft bending just like a hockey stick would be bending, and I'm pushing that into the ground. That's that pressure I want to feel. The same thing's happening in a golf swing. I'm putting some pressure into this ball with my right shoulder. As it keeps on moving forward, that allows me to take that divot in front of the golf ball and really have my hands in front. So as my right shoulder goes forward, that puts the pressure into there and my hands are in front. Now, if I'm doing this incorrectly, if I'm kind of standing up and throwing at it, my right shoulder stays back and I flip the club like this. There's actually no way for me to reach the golf ball way back here like this. My right shoulder's back and I'm out of my posture if I don't flip to be able to reach it. Now, if you do this drill, all of a sudden, I'm way away from the golf ball now. So this is gonna train you how to not only stay in your posture, but to get that pressure in the shaft so you can feel like you really can press it. Here's what I want you to do to get that feeling. We're gonna go ahead and go down to this shot, feel that pressure in the ground, actually bend that shaft into the turf a little bit, and then from there, drive your right shoulder on through it. So I'm putting some pressure into the ground, right shoulder keeps going forward, and then I'm throwing that golf ball down the fairway. If you're coming out of your posture, you're feeling it way back here. We want to get that thing moving forward. Now, here's another piece with this that ties in with exactly what we talked about. A really big key with this is my right elbow. If I'm losing my posture and I'm throwing the club, my right elbow is straightening very early. It's almost like if I grabbed a golf ball, I would be thinking of it, if I'm losing my posture, as me standing up and throwing everything at the golf ball. Well, in reality, the golf swing, if you look at the pros, is much more of an opening motion, and they're feeling like they're tossing that golf ball down the fairway like that. So same feeling here. Get the split hand grip, put some pressure into it, and look at my right elbow. See how it's still bent. I'm not letting that extend until after contact. So let's do the same thing again. Put pressure into the ground 2 or 3 times, right shoulder's going forward. Notice my right arm is staying bent. And then I can make a couple swings, feeling my right arm bent, and then I'm gonna release that, and my right arm's gonna straighten out as I come into the release. So it's gonna look like this. I'm gonna get a couple pressure into the shaft, come back, right arm bent, and then I'm gonna go ahead and let it go through the ball instead of at the golf ball. And that really helps me to save up that lag, save up that hit until late, and then I'm letting that fly down the fairway. So you'll see here, as I hit this iron, you're gonna hear from the sound of it that I really put a lot of pressure in this ball. It really gets a nice, solid contact sound. Let's give it a whirl. There we go, hit that one fantastic. Nice penetrating ball flight, straight as an arrow. When you follow those drills, that's really gonna help you to get into a position that you're probably not used to if you're coming out of your posture. It's great to have you here today. I can't wait to share this drill with you. It's one of my favorites. And a friend of mine, a fellow Ping ambassador, Chuck Cook, was on Chris Como, another Ping ambassador, swing expedition. He was going over this drill. And I think it's just a fantastic drill. And I'm gonna do my little spin on this drill to get you into a position to where you can really compress the golf ball. Really what matters in the golf swing is how I deliver this club through impact. Pros do that by leaning the shaft forward, that de-lofts the club face. They're taking about 30% of the loft that's on this club when it's at address or straight up and down off at impact. That takes loft off, gets you higher ball speed, more compression. It gets your hands in front so you can be more consistent. It gets the divot in front of the golf ball. It gets the golf ball to fly much straighter, and it just makes golf, as you can tell, like I'm talking about here, a whole heck of a lot easier. So grab a golf club. I can't wait to share this progression with you. I know you're gonna have a blast doing it. Let's go and get started. All right, so let's grab a middle iron for this drill. You can use anything, 6 iron, 7 iron, 8 iron, all that's fine. And what we're doing here, again, is we're trying to get the feeling of a pro caliber impact position, a pro caliber compression on the golf ball. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start by leaning the club shaft forward. Now pros typically are taking about 30% of the loft off this club, which means if I'm using a middle iron, I wanna have my hands a good 5 or 6 inches in front of this golf ball at impact. That allows me to, when I come to impact, I'm leading the way with my hands. The club head is trailing behind in a much more consistent manner. And I'm also hitting down slightly into this golf ball so I can take my divot in front. That's how all the pros do it. Every single one of the pros that I've ever measured, hundreds of them, every single one of them when they're hitting an iron has the hands in front. I haven't seen a single pro yet that has the hands back here like this. It's just too daggone hard to play golf when the hands are back here. So let's go ahead and get this impact position first. What you're gonna do is set up to this golf ball, get in your normal stance, and then from here, I want you to keep your body the same, but push your hands forward. Now when you push your hands forward, don't let that face open up. I want it to stay square like that. So I don't wanna see this, I wanna see this with that face nice and square. Now from there, I'm gonna rotate just my hands and arms. I'm gonna keep my hips the same to go back here, kind of first parallel in the backswing. Now from there, that face is gonna be angled down slightly because this angle, when I turn the face this way, is the same as forward shaft lean. And what I mean by that is if I turn this face closed, I have to lean the hands forward to square that up. So when you come back to here, that face is gonna be slightly hooded. My body is still square. Now from here, I wanna get some knee bend. And the reason for this knee bend is I have to use my legs to rotate my body to get back to impact. So when I get back to impact, my hips are open, my chest is slightly open, and my hands are in front. That's gonna allow you to compress that golf ball. You may see your left wrist, as you're doing this, as you rotate on through, be a little bit bowed, like you see with a lot of tour players. If nothing else, I wanna see that pretty nice and flat, so those hands are leading in front. So I'm gonna do that a few times, just going back here, face slightly closed, and then I'm gonna rotate to get to my good impact position. So I'm gonna do that 2 or 3 times. I'm using my legs to rotate. If my legs are here and locked, I can't rotate my legs. I'm gonna do all arms, I'm gonna flip away at it. So I need to bend my legs and rotate my legs. Notice how my right heel is coming off the ground. That's good. If I keep that right heel down, it locks my hips and I have to throw my hands at it. I'm not gonna get that pro impact unless you're super, super flexible, which you're probably not if you're anything like me. So I'm gonna be there, hips are opening, right heel's coming off the ground, chest is opening, hands in front. That's money position right there. That's as good as it's gonna get. Then we're gonna go ahead and let it come on through to where now I rotate my entire body onto this finish. Now my belt buckle is facing the target. My hands are out in front of me here. Slight tilt of the shoulders is fine, but I've used my bent knees and my body rotation to come through it. So that's the practice swing. And then I'm gonna do the same thing, hitting a little easy shot. Halfway back to here, I'm gonna pause, and then I'm gonna use my legs to rotate on through. You'll see there that ball took off very low. My hands were in front, and as you do that a few times, it just feels really solid. You're gonna hit it nice and solid, good compression on it. Let me do that one more time for you. So hands back to here, face down, and then from there, knees bent, and I'm using all body rotation to get that ball to fly. That thing was solid. I could not hit it any better than that one. I love this drill for that. So thanks Chuck for introducing us, Chuck Cook for introducing us to that. I mean, the guy has to know what he's doing. He's had multiple major winners. Funny guy, really just one of the best people you ever meet, and I love this drill. Now, the next part I wanna do in this progression is I wanna take it a little farther back. So the only thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do that same thing. Hands forward. Instead of just taking it to here, I'm gonna go ahead and from there, I'm gonna rotate my hips and shoulders until I can take it to the top of the swing. Then I'm gonna bend my knees, rotate through to impact, and then rotate through to where my body's facing the target there, then full finish. So basically I'm just turning the same drill into a full swing. Let me walk you through that. Hands are forward, face is square. Rotate just my arms back, club slightly hooded. Now go ahead and turn my body to get a good full turn. Pause at impact, make sure my right heel's up, my body's rotating open. I'm really compressing the heck out of this golf ball. And then I'm gonna go ahead and finish my swing. My body's rotating through to the target. That way I don't stop and throw and flip at it. So when I do that a few times, practice swing is gonna look like this. Making sure my body rotates through. Then when I think I have a good feel for that, I'm gonna do the same thing in a kind of a 3/4 swing, and I'm really focusing in on this motion at impact. Body open, hands in front, really, really compressed. Let's try that out. There we go, hit that one nicely, really well compressed. Follow that compression and that series of drills, golf's gonna get a whole heck of a lot more fun. Now I have to say there's one piece of this drill that holds people back though, and that's this face angle that I was talking about. Turning that face down to square that up. That's the same as forward shaft lean, right? So if the face is square, as I get forward shaft lean at impact, my face is wide open. Now I have a drill that helps you to overcome this. And once you get this drill down, the rotation, the compression, the impact, it all just happens a lot more naturally. It's called the tennis racket drill. I'm gonna play a preview of that here in a second. All you need to do is go ahead and click the card that pops up on the screen or the link down below in the description. You'll get instant access to that video. And once you get that move down, it's like a key that unlocks your entire swing. Now it all makes sense now how to shallow it out. It makes sense how to rotate the body more. It really just makes it a lot easier. So I'm gonna play a preview of that video here in a second. Go ahead and click that card or that link down below. I can't wait to share the tennis racket drill with you. Good player problems. We're gonna talk about shallowing that club shaft out as we're starting down, as we're doing this rotating of the face that we worked on in the last video. As we start this downswing, what you'll see with basically all of the top players is instead of coming kind of over the top and letting the hands come out away from their body, letting the club come out away from their body, again coming down steep into the ball and then having to open up, kind of fillet open the face and add loft to it. The flattening of the shaft should happen as soon as we start down. So as we start this downswing, what we want to have happening here, you can imagine that if I draw a line from the hosel of my club up through my right elbow, that's my swing plane line, my elbow plane. As I go to the top of the swing, I'm going to be slightly above that. And then as I start down, I want my hands to start to shallow out. I want the club to shallow out inside of this elbow plane. And at the same time, I'm going to be rotating my